Another shootout is almost here. And like I said, I'm going to try to put together a little video suggesting what you should bring to the shootout if you're going to be racing your car, besides the car, that is. These are some of the things that I've learned over the years of what you would need if you broke something, or just things that are nice to have, general maintenance. There's a lot of great people at the shootout who are more than willing to lend tools and parts and whatever you need, but it's always best to have your own. Try to think of anything that you use normally on your car for taking it apart or upgrading something or changing it. For the most part, these cars are pretty simple to work on. A few basic hand tools, this and that. There's nothing really special that you need, but there are a few things that make it easier and make the trip safer. I'm trailering my car. It's 850 miles each way for me. So, like I said, anything you forget really sucks because you can't go get it. So either you're going to have to borrow it, or you're going to have to go to a store that's local in town and buy it. And of course that costs money, and then you probably already have whatever you're borrowing or buying. So it's just better to try and not forget anything and have it with you in case you need it. So for the most part, I haven't got everything here that I'm taking to the shootout, but this covers most of what I'll be bringing. You know, as I said before, you can get by with some basic hand tools on these cars for the most part. 10, 12, 13, 14, and 17 millimeter wrenches. These cars are ridiculously simple to work on. For the most part, with a 10, 12, 13, 14, and 17 millimeter wrenches, you can take apart pretty much anything on these cars. So have all of these in both wrenches and sockets, and for the most part you can do pretty much anything on the car. So I have a set of sockets with all of these as well. So I have a full set of sockets on a 3/8 ratchet to go along with these. It's in another vehicle right now. So then if you happen to break an axle, you'll need a 36 millimeter socket, and of course you need your socket to get your wheels off. I'm using the standard EVO lug nuts, so simple enough. If you've got tuner lugs that need a special socket or a keyed socket, whatever, don't forget that, because if you break your axle or whatever else and you need to get your wheel off, and chances are if it's a special lock nut or whatever it is, nobody's going to have it. Next up would be a set of metric Allen keys. There's not very many on the car, but sometimes they come in handy. Spark plug socket, couple socket extensions, 1/2 inch and 3/8. I've got a 1/2 inch ratchet here, but I'll have the full 3/8 set as well. This is great for larger stuff, suspension stuff that's a little harder to turn, this and that, and for smaller places where a torque wrench can't get in. This is also another great thing to have. You don't want to be going down the track and have your wheels fall off because your lug nuts are at the wrong torque. Have that. Some electrical tape, always good to have. Set or two of spark plugs, maybe in multiple heat ranges. You never know, maybe a different heat range will work better for you for the weekend. Set of nitrile gloves. We're used to getting dirty on these cars, but we're out there to have a good time, and you don't want to be, especially if you break an axle or transfer case, whatever. Gear lube sucks. You know, it stinks and it's messy. You don't want to be the guy going to the Mexican restaurant smelling like gear lube. Been there. I've got a set of work gloves as well. These are great if you need to really grip something hard or that's hot. They don't transfer heat like the nitrile gloves do. Funnel comes in handy for topping up fluids. Adjustable wrench for the size of whatever that you forgot. This fits everything. Also known as a nut fucker. What else we got here? I don't really ever plan on doing a timing job at the shootout, but it wouldn't be the first time I've done it. So I've got my timing tools. I've got the rod to depress the auto tensioner. I'll probably throw in the cam lock tool as well. And what else? We got a set of pliers. I've only got the cutters here, but cutters, regular pliers, needle nose. If you got to take a cotter pin out, you'll need them. On that note, some spare cotter pins are probably a good idea in case you break one. Flashlight. The lighting at the track is pretty good, but when you're underneath the car, it doesn't matter if it's daytime or nighttime. Some lighting, and don't forget the charge cable for it if it's battery operated, because a uncharged light, you might as well not even bring it. Hammer. What else do I need to say about a hammer? Sometimes you just need to hit shit. Some rags. I need more. If you're racing all-wheel drive, bring a transfer case if you've got a spare. I've actually never broke one, but I know the one time that I don't bring it will be the time that I break it. Jack stands and a jack. How many times have I seen guys working underneath their car at the shootout or any track where they've got the car supported just on a jack? Don't ever do that. I have a high school buddy who was killed like that, and it just annoys the shit out of me when I see anybody doing it. So have your jack stands. At the very least, throw your tires underneath the car. Something. Don't rely on the jack, because a 5-cent O-ring is the difference between life and death. Fluids. Have some engine oil. If you're running meth injection, have some of your pre-mixed meth or pure meth, whatever you run. I always keep some heavy shockproof with me for the rear diff and transfer case, and as well transmission fluid. You never know. If you're an all-wheel drive as well, it's always a good idea to have spare axles. I've got one rear axle here, and I've got another one. I'll probably bring both rears. That's the most likely ones I'll break, and I'll probably bring one spare front. Another thing that makes life a lot easier is a creeper, especially when you're strapping and unstrapping your trailer or whatever. So laying on the ground, creeper comes in really handy. What else we got here? Not a necessity, but cordless impact driver with various bits and socket adapters make life really easy. Don't forget your helmet. If you're running faster than, I think, 14 seconds at an NHRA track, you need your helmet. And if you're faster than 11.5, you need that safety gear. Don't forget it, or you won't be able to run. As I've said in other videos, I like these yoga mats. They're great just for putting down, laying down quickly. Gets the job done. If you want to keep stuff clean, some not shop towels, some microfiber towels and detail spray. If you're trailing your car out, don't forget your spare tire or two, because if you happen to hit something on the side of the road and you puncture 2 tires, that's not good. You're not going any better than if you had 1 spare tire. So I've got 2 spares. Make sure they're inflated. On those lines, you want your tire gauge, because you want to be able to check and adjust the pressure on your car tires. Like usual for racing, sometimes you have to make adjustments to your tire pressure to get the proper traction. Bring your own. Don't rely on anybody else to have stuff there for you. What else do I keep? I have a set of tire plugs. You never know, in 850 miles, you never know what's in the road. So have the plugs and the tools to install them. Should always have these in your towing equipment anyways. Tripods, cameras, GoPros, whatever, and the charging cables, extra batteries. If you want to have any souvenir videos or photos at the shootout, bring your gear, because if it's far away, it doesn't do any good. I like to keep a bunch of these old microfiber cloths from detailing and use them for shop towels. They're great. I think that covers pretty much everything I have here. I'm sure along the lines I usually throw in random other things. Bring water, bring a cooler. Like any other sporting venue, water, drinks, food is ridiculously expensive. I get it, helps pay for the venue, but there's nothing against bringing your own. So, you're out there in the hot sun for 2-3 days. Don't get yourself dehydrated. Keep yourself topped up on fluids. You want to be there to enjoy the weekend and not go home sick. Spare a set of shoes in case it rains. You don't want to be walking around all afternoon or the next couple days in wet shoes. So I think that's about all I got for you. And if anybody else has any suggestions of things they should bring to the shootout, drop them in the comments below. Hopefully this hits a few people before the shootout gets here and before people start leaving. It's coming up really fast. This is Sunday evening. I'll be hitting the road Thursday, and hope to see a lot of you out there. So, like I said, if you have any suggestions on other things that people should bring, do not forget to make life easier at the track and not have to depend on other people. Drop it in the comments, and see you out there. Let's have some fun. Make DSM great again.